Hey everyone, Clinton Young, international keynote speaker and world-class speaker trainer, founder of the Speaker Posse. And I just wanted to come at you today and share with you something that I learned this morning from one of my speaker coaches. So even though I'm a professional speaker, I speak all around the world with my keynote speech, Reigniting the Human Spirit. I have speaker coaches. In fact, I have like 3 or 4 of them. And even the world-class speaker, who's actually a Hall of Fame speaker, who's my coach, one of them, he has a speaker coach, right? And a mentor. So always, always, always have a coach, have a mentor. And he dropped something on me this morning that was absolutely counterintuitive, right? One of those things where when you hear it, it's like, no way, that doesn't make any sense. But then after I really let it sink in, it made a ton of sense. And what he said was, he says, when you're running out of time in your speech, and you're on stage, when you're running out of time in your speech, slow down. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? Slow down when you're running out of time. And let me just back up before I give you the punchline there. This happens all the time. Like as a speaker, I don't know if you're already speaking, you know what I'm talking about. If you're on your way up, or maybe you haven't done many paid speaking gigs yet, make sure to join the Speaker Posse. You can do that at speakerposse.com. It's a free Facebook group, and also subscribe to this channel. And you'll get a lot of great tips on different things to do as an up-and-coming aspiring speaker. But what you'll find as you start to speak more and more is inevitably you're going to have an opportunity where you're speaking, and right before you go on stage, you're supposed to be on for 90 minutes, for example, the host is going to come up and say, excuse me, Clinton, our speakers have gone over this morning, or our MC went over, or people came back from lunch late. You now have 60 minutes. You don't have 90 minutes anymore. You have 60 minutes. And by the way, you're on in 15 minutes, right? This is what happened to me recently. And this happens from time to time. It's only happened to me a few times, but it's inevitable. The more you speak, it's going to happen. And what do? Well, it's really important, in my opinion, to have a keynote speech that is very story driven, right? I like to have like 70% stories and 30% facts and content. People want to hear stories, bottom line, right? That's a whole nother training. But also you want to have the ability to pull out almost like modules. You want it to be modular, like an accordion. So you can pull out a story here and it's not going to impact the keynote speech. You can pull out some content here and it's not going to impact the speech. You can shorten some of the stories or shorten some of the segments and it's not going to negatively impact the speech. In fact, I have a 15-minute version of my speech, a 30-minute version, a 45-minute version, 60-minute, 90-minute, and a 2-hour version of my speech. And I could do it for 4 hours, be turned into more of a workshop at that point. But I've given literally a keynote that was 2 hours long, right? And I've given paid keynotes that are 45 to 2 hours, but I've done other opportunities for 15 and 30. So anyways, that's what happened. I had a 90-minute speech. Clinton, I need you to do it in 60. Boom. So I'm sitting there, accordioning away, pulling things out and making it so that it's going to work. And another tip I'll give you is, whether you're a seasoned speaker or you're just starting out, is video record every single time you speak. Every single time. Because you're always going to want to take a little snippet out of that for your social media, for posting, whether you're doing a meme or doing just maybe a little short clip of your video. And this is something I need to get better at. I need to hire and outsource that whole process, because I have so much I have hours of footage of me speaking, and I need to get more of that up. So I'm preaching to the choir to myself on that one, but definitely have that video, because you're always going to be able to use it for those quick hitter micro content pieces. But then also, obviously, you're always going to want to add to and update your overall speaker reel. If you want to see my speaker reel, you can check out my channel or go to my website at clintonyoung.com and click on watch video to get an example of a speaker demo reel. And that speaker demo reel, you're going to want to update that pretty regularly. So you always want to get your content. Obviously, if it's a crappy room, a small audience, you're not going to want to use that, but definitely get the video, because the third reason, and here it is, it's the most important reason. You want to watch your video, right? Watch your video. If you think about the world, the top of the top of the top of the world-class athletes, right? You think about the National Football League, football, you think about soccer, the other football, right? For my UK and South Africa friends from around the world in my Speaker Posse group, yes, the other football. When you think about this, the best of the best, they watch the tape, right? And I know I just dated myself. It's 2019, almost 2020, and I'm talking about the tape, right? There's no such thing as the tape anymore, but we're watching the video. You got to watch your video, right? The only way to become world-class, besides getting a coach and learning all the world-class principles to becoming a world-class speaker, is A, you got to put in the reps, right? You got to put in the reps in the gym, if you will. You got to get on stages. You got to speak your message as many times as possible. You've got to get guidance from that coach, right? And then you've got to implement. You've got to implement, and ultimately you rise up by getting new and new awareness, more and more new awareness. You have the courage to implement, and then that develops more and more confidence as you see the response from the audience. And then you go back to step one. You get more awareness. You work with your coach to give you more awareness of what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, courage to implement, and then you gain more and more confidence, right? So a little sidebar tangent there. I'm coming back to the story here. So ultimately, he says, when you're running out of time, slow down. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about, right? And he said something else. I wrote it down here. He says, never sacrifice the connection with your audience just to cover all your material. Never sacrifice connection with your audience just to cover all of your material, right? And the other thing he said was, he says, sacrifice content over connection. Sacrifice your content over your connection. So have a way to shorten your speech, right? Have a way to do that on the fly, in the moment, irrespective of having slides, no slides, video, no video, so that no matter where you show up, when you're getting paid to speak, or even if you're doing a free gig, always have the opportunity and the ability to shorten your speech and be with the audience. Because, you know, even though I believe I'm a world-class speaker, you can be the judge. You can check me out, you know, on my website, clintonyoung.com, and on this channel. Make sure you subscribe as well if you want to get more content like this, and join my Speaker Posse on the Facebook group. But ultimately, even me, I have a coach. My Hall of Fame speaker has a coach, right? We're always watching the tape. We're always getting better and better. Because as I was watching the tape, I didn't even notice that I was kind of racing through my content. Even though I shrunk down my speech, I think I had still the mindset that I had a 90-minute speech trying to get it into 60, and I was racing through. And, you know, one of my top tips when I do my coaching, my speaker training, is all about creating contrast in your speech, the power of contrast, right? You've got to have the ability to speed up and then to slow down, to have, you know, louder volume and more enthusiasm, down to more connected moments where you're slowing down and you have softer volume, right? All this variation and variety in your speech is what makes the beautiful tapestry of that speech. And that's what holds your audience's attention. That's what keeps them engaged, right? Pausing, speeding up, et cetera, et cetera. I'm doing a little bit of it right now, just kind of intuitively. But ultimately, you've got to get to that point where you do that. And I know that. And yet I was racing through my speech. And I didn't even notice it that much when I watched my own tape, because I always watch my speech on the way home. I'll record it on my phone. On the way home on the plane, I'm watching the speech. And I'm learning immediately in real time, what did I do really well? What could I do better next time? And it becomes your healthy obsession. When you really are a professional speaker and you just love to impact people as a speaker, it really becomes a healthy obsession. But I still didn't notice it. It took my coach looking at my tape, looking at my video, and he said, Clinton, it looks like you're rushing through this speech. And he said, and that's when he dropped that line on me: when you're running out of time, slow down. And what he means is just cut content, because ultimately your audience is not going to know, A, that you cut content, but they are going to know when you cut the connection. When you break that connection with your audience, that's when they're going to know. So again, sacrifice content over connection. Sacrifice content over connection. I want to write that down. And never, ever, never sacrifice the connection with your audience just to get through all of your material, right? That's the tip of the day today. This is Clinton Young from the Speaker Posse. Make sure you join the free Facebook group, speakerposse.com. You can do it there. And of course, subscribe to this channel if you see value in this. Comment, like, share, do all that fun stuff. And let me know how I can support you and serve you. And let me know what your biggest questions are, and I'll do a video on that in the future. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.